Folktale over Culture, you're welcome indeed to another edition of the programme. Now, don't forget, later on, as always, we'll be crossing over to Manchester to join Martin Logan, who's out and about with the Irish community, once again, right across the UK. But this week, we're coming to you from a very traditional pub here. It's the Beach Bar in County Sligo. A great selection of jigs there, Teresa, and you're partly responsible for these wonderful musicians because you're the chairperson of the local Comhaltas branch.
That's right, I'm the chairperson of the Tirera branch of Comhaltas in West Sligo, and this is a sample of the fine young musicians that we have here in the West Sligo area, stretching from, we'll say, the area of Ballastadair up to the River Moy. And those girls here are from Easkey, Dromore West and Temple Boy, and we train young musicians as young as 6 or 7 up to senior level, and they have been all prize winners up to the All-Ireland Flacchiol. And I suppose we have to acknowledge that the person who started the music classes in the area is Mary Fude, and she started off the musicians, and with that we have a fine sample of musicians grown right up to senior level. So we're very proud of them.
Isn't it wonderful to see young people keeping the tradition alive?
Oh, it's fantastic, and it's so important to the area, and it's so important to the community life. The young people that are involved in music, they do very well in their education. They're great community activists. They do fundraisers, and they're a great group of young people to work with, and we're all very, very proud of them.
Well, they're going to give us a reel before they go. You might just introduce them to us, Teresa.
Right. Well, from left to right, Lorna McGuinness, she's my daughter, and my niece, Ava McGowan, and then Aoife Colleary, and then we have sisters here, Claire Dunn and Edel Dunn. And not alone are the good musicians, but we have a very talented footballer amongst them. Wow. Claire Dunn there playing the concertina. Fantastic. So they're a great group here of young girls.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a reel from them now. I think this one's called Down the Broom, isn't that right? Down the Broom.
Down
yes.
the Broom.
All right. So once again, well done, Teresa, and you should be very proud of your students here. Fantastic musicians. Great.
Around in the area.
Thanks for joining us. All right, here we go with our group once again, and this is a reel called Down the Broom.
There's a little town called Easkey, and it's in Ireland o'er the sea. And of all the places that I have been, it's that one I long to see. But the broad blue ocean parts me from the spot I love the best. It's that little town called Easkey, where dear friends are laid to rest. And the lovely hill of Sheewar you can view all o'er the town. And from the top 'tis beautiful to see the sun go down. If you're looking for love scenery, you need no further go than that little town called Easkey, where the Kilban waters flow. And the ruins of dear old Easkey I will try to see once more. For when I think of Rosslea Castle as it stands upon the shore, and charming Temple View, where the ferns and flowers do glow, near that little town called Easkey, where the Kilban waters flow. Now to bid farewell to Easkey, I find it hard to say, but I must be content to wait until a later day. For Ireland's freedom I will have, and it's then for home I'll go. And I live near lovely Easkey, where the Kilban waters flow. Sinead.
Maureen, you're the Banshee of the house here, the Beach Bar, Knockris in County Sligo.
That's right.
That song that John sang, that could have been very much about you, because you come from Easkey, don't you?
I'm from Rathlee.
half-parish,
The
I
half
suppose.
parish
Yes.
of Easkey, Rathlee. Yes.
Now, how long have you been here in the Beach Bar?
My late husband Peter and we bought the Beach Bar in 1974. And as the song goes, there were 2 rooms and a kitchen, but we had 1 room and a kitchen. And it was very run down and dilapidated at the time, but we worked on it and we built it up more and more each year. We had a good business all along. And Darren and his wife Roisin, I'm proud to say, are continuing on in the traditional Irish pub. And they have 4 lovely children, my grandchildren, so we're all happy out.
And it's a great venue for traditional Irish music.
Yes.
And the food is quite good here, I believe, as well.
Very good food. Roisin's good chef.
A lot of visitors come here.
Visitors from all over the world come here to Knockris. And I have to say, there's business, repeat business comes back and back all the time. And people who came here when myself and Peter were running the bar, their children and children's children are back. I see 3-4 generations of people all back here again.
So a lot of old friends.
A lot of old friends and new friends and acquaintances.
So you're taking a back seat now, you're taking it easy.
I'm taking a back seat now, I'm retired and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Well, long may you continue. Thanks very much for joining us on
Thank
the
you very
programme.
much and thank you for coming to do your programme here in the Beach Bar.
Perfect. Armina
Very
Mohammed.
much. Thank you.
Maureen McDermott.
The entire West Sligo area are recognising the wonderful beauty they have to sell to the rest of the world. You have Tara here in Timbleboy, you have Leap in Easkey, you have Discover in Enniscrone, you have North and West and South Sligo. It's a great tourism offering there as well. So those that want to come to Ireland, check out those websites, West and South Sligo, check out Leap, check out the Beach Bar. There's a huge offering here for that'll be 1 night, 2 nights or 2 weeks. Anything from surfing, to horse riding, to hill walking, seaweed baths in Enniscrone. Then you have Strand Hill, you have a range of golf clubs for the golfers. There's lots to do in West Sligo and lots to do in Ochris and in Drummer West, our neighbouring village.
Well, you've done a great job selling West Sligo, I can tell you. Blair Feeney, ladies and gentlemen.
Doherty was a woman and she lived in the upper half of our parish at home, and she had 2 boys, Jimmy and Tommy. Now Tommy was 11 years of age and Jimmy was 9 or thereabouts, but they were attending school anyway, and there wasn't a week passed but they came a letter home about their conduct in school. They'd done this and they'd done that and what they didn't do. But the mother anyway, she was trying to bring them up on her own, and it wasn't an easy job, do you see. But she went down to the post office this day anyway, and who should she meet? Only the parish priest. And the parish priest asked her how she was getting on and all that sort of thing. And then he said, and how's the boys? And I'm knowing well, you know, it was probably it had been discussed in the school with him because he was in and out of the school on a regular basis. She says, Father, she says, don't talk to me about the boys. My heart is broke with them. I don't know what's going to happen at all. She says, one is 11 years of age and the other is 9 years of age. And it's me firm belief, she says, they'll be in jail by the time they're 15 years of age. I can do nothing with them. Says the parish priest, he says. He was Father Malloy. He says, it can't be that bad. Would it be any good, Mrs. Doherty, if I had a word with them? Oh, Lord, she says, anything at all, Father, would be a help. Because I'm blue in the face talking to them and they have no heed on me at all. Well, he says, no, he says, we'll have to plan this right. He says, you know, he says, the first thing he says anyway is, he says, we'll have to separate them. Divide and conquer, he says. I always heard. We'll take them one at a time. And I think better still, he says, we'll change the venue. He says, I'll chat one of them at a time in my own house, he says, and they'll not be as cheeky down there. So, well, that'll do great. When, he says, can you bring them down? Bring one of them down. I don't mind which of them, he says. So she brought down anyway Jimmy the next evening at 5 o'clock. And the priest met her at the door and Jimmy went in anyway, and the priest brought him up and he put him sitting on a chair up at the fire in the sitting room. And the priest stood with his back to the other at the very lower end of the room. And he says, "Now, James," he says, "will you tell me," he says, "where is God?" Jimmy never looked at him at all, only held the head down looking at the floor. So he moved up a couple of steps and he says, "James, tell me," he says, "where is God?" Jimmy never answered him at all. And finally the priest went up and he put his fingers under Jimmy's chin and he says, "Come on now, James," he says, "you know. Tell me," he says, "where is God?" And with that, Jimmy made a shot for the door and out by the priest, up the street and into his own house and up the stairs. And Tommy was above in the room. And at that stage, Jimmy was out of breath and he was panting. And he says, "Tommy," he says, "we're in fierce trouble. We're in horrid trouble, altogether the worst trouble ever we were in." "And what's wrong?" says Tommy. "What's wrong, Jimmy?" "Ah," he says, "God is missing and the priest is blaming us."
Fair Sligo, thee I now must leave, to part as beauties I do grieve, but not forever, I believe. I'll call again to Sligo. To Holywell I bid adieu, Hazelwood and Cairns too, and Tobernaul's that splendid view which adorns the lakes of Sligo. On that lake we oft time spent, many's the hours in sweet content, and from our boat sweet music went around the lakes of Sligo. Fair Lochgill with its isles so grand, where we often wandered hand in hand on a summer's evening by the strand around the lakes of Sligo. Then I think of Knocknarea with its bonny cliffs hanging o'er the sea. It still reminds me of the day I left my home in Sligo.
We're going to leave you now with all the musicians performing together with a session. So thank you for your company. We hope you enjoy the show. And I say we look forward to your company next week at the same time. So until then, slán go fóill.